Awesome. Well, today is a very special episode of our videos and podcasts and everything, every place we're putting this. Um, this has been 15 years in the making, but we are officially renaming and rebranding the office for our 15-year anniversary. So later this month, we'll be hosting a really amazing party to celebrate all of this. It's been 15 years of helping people with tons of different types of issues and problems, both physical and otherwise, which we'll dive into, and that's part of the reason we're changing the name of the office. But today what we're going to talk about is what the new name is, what it stands for, what it means to us, and some of the core values around the new name. So the new name is officially Atlas Rising, and the tagline is Integrative Health for a Life Fully Lived. And that name has been at least a couple years in the making.
At least a couple years.
I think probably, we missed a 10-year anniversary because of COVID. So it was 2020, and no one was getting together to celebrate. And honestly, we were just trying to keep the office open.
Right.
So,
oh my God.
So 5 years later, a lot has changed in the last 5 years.
Yes.
Like, a lot has changed in the last 5 years. And this name, to us, really encapsulates that transformation, the change, 15 years kind of coming to this point, and also what we want the next phase of our office and helping people to ultimately look like.
That's right. That name coming to us the way that it did really was really finding the heartbeat of the practice, the life force of the practice, and everything that unfolds day to day as we're doing our work. And it was beautiful the way that it came. Because
we had so many different names
and so many lists
and meanings and different languages.
It's so true. And it was no different than finding the name of your child. It really wasn't. You wanted it to, like you said, encapsulate all aspects of what it was we were trying to articulate and get across to all of our patients.
And I think we're both suckers for, at least I know I am, names and things that have multiple meanings.
Absolutely.
And
yes.
So as we get into the name, there's a lot of layers to the name and different meanings that you can draw from it. And that's what I wanted when we were looking at different names and looking at renaming. And the first question that I've gotten when we've kind of started telling some people that we're renaming is like, why would you rename? You've had this business for 15 years.
Right.
And the office has been there for way longer than that. I mean, I have current patients that have been coming to the office for probably 30 years. And there's a couple reasons behind it. First of all, we're doing way more now than just chiropractic and nutrition.
That's right.
And that's exciting to us. We want to be doing multiple different types of things. We mentioned 2020 earlier, and I think that was really a major catalyst for us to reevaluate the office, what we're doing, how we're serving, what we want it to look like, not just what kind of practice did I take over and inherit and buy from someone,
Right.
right? Because initially that was my goal was, honestly, when I took over the practice, I tried to not change anything
Right.
because people are afraid of change and I, didn't want to or could afford to lose people.
Right.
And so if that meant not changing things and keeping it the same, then that's what I did for a long time, kind of to keep everybody happy and just consistent with the flow of what everyone was used to. And then 2020 hit and everything hit the fan. It was just you and me working in the office, answering phones and trying to see people virtually and just keep the office open really. And that was super eye-opening, but it laid the groundwork for us to be able to say, okay, how do I want to practice now? How do you want to practice now? What do we want these to look like? And what that has turned into is much more than just adjusting and nutrition.
Right.
Right? As we've worked on the website, I mean, it's crazy the number of services that we offer. and we still have people that have been coming into the office forever still say, I had no idea that you guys do that.
Right.
Right? And so that's part of what we're trying to also do is we want to help people in all the ways that we can, and it's not just chiropractic, it's not just nutrition, it's not just losing weight, it's not just this exercise or just this diet. It has to be an integrative approach.
That's right.
In making real significant changes in all the areas of your life.
Absolutely.
And so that's what we'll kind of dig into as far as some of that meaning goes. So I don't know where this started, but
Yes.
that's kind of how the name has,
Right.
a little bit of the backstory on why we're looking at changing the name, because the name has worked and that's what people know us as. I think on another level, I did take over a practice and I did inherit a lot of systems and procedures and staff and just the way that things were used to being done.
Right.
And this has also been really exciting to be able to, what do I want the name of my practice to be? What do I want the services to look like? What do I want the transformations that we're offering to people to encompass?
Right.
And that's really how we're approaching people when they come in now, and what we're offering. Not approaching people, but when people now come into the office, we're looking at it as a transformation.
That's right.
Because I honestly believe that's what people are looking for. Even if they come in and they're like, hey, I just need my back cracked. I have a feeling, and experience has shown us that that's sometimes true, but 9 times out of 10, if you take a second to sit down with that person, they need more than just that.
That's right.
We all do.
We all do.
And I think that's what's also has happened over the last 5 years has that's really become apparent and important. And as I've done my own work on myself and in all the areas, that's what I'm excited about offering to people.
Yes.
Is that sort of transformation on the other side
Yes.
of where they're at.
Coming through this journey, it is so evident that this is so much more than just a name change or a rebrand, or it has literally become, it's so funny, a movement, right? I find it to be a movement into the powerful truth that, and we can talk about too the power of the name when when it was finally like, oh my goodness, this is it, like it was such a powerful truth, that healing begins the moment that we reclaim truth, and we stop outsourcing our worth or our value or our purpose or our life or our body to outdated, broken systems. And that's what really spoke to me, because we see in and out that brokenness every day, and the very loud truth that screams, just like you so well articulated, that it's not just back pain. The body will not be lied to. The body is incredible at wanting to know the truth so it can be set free.
And that's what we talked about on our last
Yes.
podcast, was exactly that. So let's dig into the name Atlas Rising.
Let's do that.
So Atlas, again, has kind of multiple meanings. The first one really being probably the most logical.
Right.
So
there was a logical.
Yeah.
Right.
So
cerebral.
yeah. So what got me into chiropractic, or what I was most excited to help people inside of chiropractic, was working with the Atlas bone. So all throughout chiropractic school, that was my main kind of focus area. When I went to practice in Seattle, the clinic I worked in, that's all we worked on was the Atlas bone.
Tell them where.
Yeah, so the
that
Atlas
is
bone
just-
is the very, very top neck bone. I was drawn to focusing in and specializing in that area because of the power that has. So you can adjust somebody in that part of your neck or body, and because the brainstem sits down inside that, and that's where all the nerves from the brain come out to the body, you can see really amazing and powerful changes if that is out of a line, and correcting that for someone. Some of the biggest testimonials that I had seen inside of chiropractic were from offices that focused on adjusting the Atlas bone, and I have certainly seen that in practice.
People come from all over to see
people
you.
come from hours away to get their Atlas worked on, and now I work on more than just the Atlas, but that was inspiring to me, and that name still holds a lot of meaning to me, and as part of the name Atlas. I think this, the second part of what Atlas really means is, in mythology, right? Atlas, who was charged with holding the world on his shoulders.
That's right.
And that's really, really symbolic of what we felt like people have been carrying around.
That's right.
This huge weight on their shoulders. And that's part of the work that I've done with myself over the last couple of years, is recognizing that and processing that, and just digging into that, and yeah, everyone has stress, but um, I think that it goes a lot deeper, and for a lot of people, that boulder is just it. It signifies a lot more than, "Oh, I had a stressful day at the office." Right? I mean, there's tons of emotions and grief and life that people are carrying around, and we're not addressing in a very meaningful or healthy way. Um, and that does show up in our bodies, but it also shows up in our joy, our happiness, and our purpose, and how we interact with our family and our kids, and the light that we either let shine or that really starts to fade
Right.
as a result of that burden that we're carrying, um, for most people their whole lives.
That's right.
And I also believe that more people are kind of opening their eyes to it, but I also think that a lot of people kind of always walk around with this nagging feeling that they're carrying this, and they have no words for it. They have it's like always below the surface, and some days are more stressful, and they're just short-tempered and aggravated, and
Yes.
and yes, they're stressed, but they're also not fulfilled
Right.
and happy and really making the most of their lives like they want to. Not how anyone else thinks that they should, but really how they want to be showing up.
Right.
And so that's the other significance of Atlas, was recognizing that in myself, but also the people that we're taking care of, is that weight that they're carrying around, like Atlas
That's right.
does.
That's right.
So, what do you have to add about
Mm.
Atlas and that?
It really resonated, just even talking about how, and we talk about that, like outsourcing our identity, and we talked a lot about that last time, but just even outsourcing the idea of who we are, and not just continuously adding weight, right? And you talked about the light, and so many people we see, they just shrink away, like underneath the weight of that. And it's almost a very unconscious accommodation of that type of pain and that type of grief, until it is this beautiful moment where the light comes on, and it's like, okay, the body is trying to speak. Let's take a moment and listen to what it says. And even that moment of great relief, when they realize they can come in and they can set it all down, and they can put that all down, and we can figure out, letting everything else fall away, to just find that little spark and that little light, and that life within them. I think that is also, so as far as like Atlas, are you going to talk about the book too? Are you going to talk about that?
Yeah, we can.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that whole picture to me, and me, honestly, I loved Greek mythology growing up. And I remember, being a little girl and being very interested in Greek mythology. And I remember thinking to myself every time I saw him, I was like, why doesn't he just put that down? But in the story, actually, because it would cost so much to put that down. I think it was going to cost him his life,
Mm.
which also resonates with me, okay? Right? Because I'm a true believer in we are, for lack of better words, going to die many deaths in this lifetime to be rebirthed and to be renewed unto ourselves as we continue to find ourselves, to heal, to walk out our own truth. And that is a big miracle inside of that too.
Yeah, purpose
Ugh,
in our lives,
yes.
changing and
honest,
evolving.
exactly. And even the pain being a portal to that next right, to that next level, right, to that next baseline, to that next edge of more truth. That's really, it really fires me up.
Yeah. And so, we've mentioned light a couple times, and that's what has really taken us so long to come up with a
let's
name,
tell them.
because we were trying
we
to
thought that we were trying to, right,
have
articulate
a name,
light.
yeah, that incorporate a name that incorporated letting your light shine, basically.
Yes.
And we just could not find anything that spoke to us like this does in what we're trying to bring.
That's right.
To everyone. So, in our website and kind of how we've approached it, that letting that light shine and understanding what it is, is still super important. It's just not part of the name, unfortunately. But I love this name. I think it's perfect for what we're trying to do inside the office. Now, rising, I think, does have something to do with that, because, my life, your life, everyone, we've had cycles and points and times of our lives where it's been really hard. It's been really tough. Things did not turn out how we thought that they were going to. There's been disappointments and grief and deaths and good times, right?
Yes.
Really, really good times. And so, but when we are weighed down by so much, that idea of rising up out of that, carrying the burden, or put whatever name you want to on it, right? Like expectations and grief, and there's everyone's going to have a lot of different names that are on that boulder that we're carrying around. And so that's what rising really, to me, stands for, is not just setting the boulder down and giving up, but rising up through that.
That's right.
Right? Doing the work, whether it is physical to ourselves and our bodies, or whether it's more emotional or spiritual work, to rise.
That's right.
And through those things that have been weighing us down for most people way too long.
It is. It was. We rise, and you rise with us. And had you gotten here by any other way, you just wouldn't be who you were, right? And it is the alchemizing of all of that pain, the things we go through in life, the grief, the loss, the abuse, the trauma, all of that, and coming alongside of each other to alchemize that into this beautiful resilience that just could not have been here by any other way. And what a gift that is, right? Because it's true. Like there, tribes will say, indigenous in how can you say that? Indigenous, thank you. Indigenous, right? Tribe work, will say that, thank you so much, because for when, one person is sick in the community, it helps them heal the community as a whole. And when somebody falls sick, they have a ceremony of thankfulness. Like they thank. It's kind of a crazy thing to think about, but they're thanking the thing showing up that needs to show up, and letting the light and the air hit the wound so we can start the healing work. It's beautiful.
It is. So, as we said earlier, as we've kind of put together, our name and what it means, we're doing a full overhaul of the logo and the website and the colors and all of that. But what was, I think, really meaningful for us to also do is really dive into, as we're renaming, what are our values that we want to people to really speak of when they talk about us now, right? And so, again, I had kind of inherited the name before, and really through that, not taking the time to, like, what do we stand for?
Right.
And so, the last couple of years, as we've really dug into this, it's been really meaningful to be able to kind of put down over the years, like, what we've hoped to help people with, and as we're looking at the future, what we're trying to continue to bring to people in multiple different ways. So we've got 5 core values here. The first one is kind of what we've already been talking about, which is transformative rising. So we guide meaningful change that helps people rise beyond their limitations. We help patients lift from what's holding them back into their fullest potential. And I think, again, that's what rising really signifies, is not being held back by that giant boulder of your past.
Oh, that's a good one.
And being able to step forward into what's next in the future, and being the version of yourself that you want to be inside that. And that's ultimately what we're trying to help people do is, yes, physically, right? We want you to feel good enough to be able to do those things.
That's right.
And physically be able to do those things. But we also want you to feel really good about yourself as you're doing those things, and feel confident and love yourself as you're doing those things, and feel like you're bringing that light into the world as you're doing those things. And so that's what we're trying to create. The next value is whole person integration. And so the tagline, integrative health for a life fully lived. We understand that true healing comes through aligning physical health, emotional well-being, and spiritual wellness. Our integrative approach combines structural alignment, functional nutrition, and innovative technologies to address the complete person, not just isolated symptoms. And we have preached this for ever, and it's part of the reason the modern medicine sucks so bad, is because they're only stuck on, or they're only focused on one isolated symptom or issue or condition, So much so that, at this point, your primary care doctor can barely talk to you about much of anything. They just refer you to some specialist who only focuses on fingernails. And it's like the backstream of issues that led to that symptom is ridiculous and needs to be addressed. And that's a whole other soapbox to stand on.
That's an episode. That's another episode.
For sure. And but that's ultimately what we have always stood for, and what we're really doubling down on even more so is looking at someone as a whole, and not just
a snapshot of
a pain in their
symptom.
shoulder
Yeah.
or 20 pounds to lose.
Right.
Because there's so many layers to all of those things that led up to that point that you're sitting in front of us, that we wouldn't be doing someone justice just to fix their shoulder or just to let them lose 20 pounds and really not get the transformation on the other side of let's heal the rest of those issues.
That's right.
And continue to be proactive in being healthy,
Yes.
right? Because health isn't an absence of symptoms.
Right.
So, whole person integration. And really, as we're looking at the future, that's what we're kind of, the next progression for us is rolling directly into that. Because we're going to be having a lot more classes. We're going to be having a lot more retreats. That's next on our list for later this year, is we want to get someone out of their day-to-day environment and into an environment where they can start to dig into some of these deeper levels of connection and understanding and healing, and give them some tools and some guidance, and being able to do different types of work addressed around the physical, emotional, spiritual well-being. The third value is authentic presence. So we build our practice on meaningful relationships where everyone feels seen and heard. We listen deeply, seek root causes, and foster a space where patients and team members feel like family, creating a community they want to belong to, not just a program they want to finish. So maybe you can talk a little bit more about this from what you've seen on the kind of the red light and the nutrition side of the practice.
Yes, and I think in anything we do in the practice, and it's just like you said, it's not, there's sometimes I'm just like, I know that we're sitting together here and you feel like it's about the weight, but it's never really about the weight. It never is. And being able to take that deeper dive inside, like we're talking about, like really listen, like really taking time to listen, and just being able to sit in the same space for someone and witness and be a witness to their pain, to their life, to their hopes, to their dreams, to their pleasure, to their joy, and really taking that time to know them, like to really know them, right? Because a lot of us walk through this life without actually being truly seen. I'm so sorry. We're not stopping and taking the time sometimes to, first of all, like, feel safe enough to feel truly seen for who you truly are, And how many people actually don't even know that, by the way, who they truly are, right? But to act, so our heart is to build this community where it fosters creating space for all of that. Because it's never truly about what you think it is. And here's the thing, it's actually it's not happening from the outside in. Every transformation is actually happening from the inside out, right? So it's not just dropping 20 pounds like it's or 30 pounds. It's not just that. It's wow, I have reclaimed I have reclaimed who I am. I have come home to who I am. I have reclaimed who I am. I have become reacquainted with who I am, and I am ready to embrace all aspects of that. Even the dark shadows, like all of the things actually really belong. And what we do is we together can really just wrap our arms around that and love everything back into the light. And that's where the staying power of healing takes place. That's true healing. Because the thing is because I've stepped in and I've become this person. I've reclaimed this person. So there is no going back to the old, maladaptive way of like not being aware or just not listening or stuffing it down anymore. So I hope I answered your question, because I
Yeah,
tend to...
and kind of speaking also to community, personally, for a long time, I was very much like, I don't need personally, I don't need community. I don't like, but in the last several years, like I've been meeting Wednesday mornings with a couple of guys, and the vast difference in having community in my life and having people that I know genuinely care and you can be honest with and vulnerable with and they're invested in how life is actually going for you, that makes a huge difference. And I want to be a place that other people feel that for, even if it's not breakfast on Wednesday mornings every week, even if it's sharing how their grandkids are doing or being excited because they can ride a bike again when they didn't think that they would ever be able to.
Yes.
Right? And us also caring about that.
Right.
And it not just being how fast can we get this person out of here to get the next person in and get the money collected. Right? Like, we have a lot of patients that come to our office because they've been to other places, and that's what it kind of feels like. And, on the other side of that, we're not the cheapest place. I would like to be the most expensive place. Yeah. I don't know that we are, but I would like to be, for this exact reason, because I want to be able to sit down and take care of the person how I really, honestly, truly want to take care of them, not take care of them to try to get them out of the office faster and get the next person in so we can fucking bill insurance and collect $20.
Take care of them how insurance says we can take care of them.
100%.
Right? Yeah.
I will close the office before I am forced to take insurance and only do what insurance says that I can do to help someone.
Right.
And we have a lot of people that stop coming in or don't come in the first place because we don't take their insurance. And I get it. Like, people pay a ton of money for their insurance. They want to use it. But our value is that we want to create an environment where it is immeasurably more valuable to somebody to pay a little bit more out of pocket and get a far superior experience in our office and be taken care of how they want to be taken care of and how we want to take care of people.
That's right.
Then try to please everyone and be the cheapest and just see how many people we can crank in and out of the office. I've tried all kinds of different models over the last 15 years, and high volume, seeing how many people I can see, is definitely not the direction that we're going.
No.
We're going the exact opposite of that.
That's right. Where the true currency lies. Because the true currency is in every transformative life that walks through that door.
And we're seeing that over the last year. We have had more stories of people's healing and health and their lives honestly getting changed and transformed, and babies sleeping.
That was, share the story. Oh my gosh, we got the most wonderful call this morning. And that, oh my gosh, talk about like, that will fill you up like to overflow. And yes, because we got a call this morning at the office was the most beautiful gift, because she just said, please tell Dr. Endel I said thank you, because the baby slept through the night, which means my husband and I slept through the night. It's those are such huge gifts and huge wins. Just a little ripple effect, right?
Yes. And so that doesn't happen by seeing how fast we can get someone in and out.
No.
It does happen by creating a culture and a community where people want to come into the office. They want to be a part of what we're doing. And, our heart hurts a little bit when someone comes in and they're excited that it's their last day in the office, because it means that we haven't quite hit the mark on getting them to see the bigger picture of what's going on. We want people to be excited about, like, what's the next little step? How can we stay involved? And it's not about, like, keeping people coming in and paying money forever. It's about keeping people as part of our family and helping them through all the different parts of their lives and all the things that come up. And that's what we want. That's what this is really about.
Yes.
Okay, two more. Empowerment. That's the fourth value that we have, empowerment. We honor each person's readiness to invest in their health journey while inspiring them to raise their standards for how they live and heal. We provide the clarity, tools, and support needed to transform potential into reality for both our team and our patients. So this is what we have just really kind of also been talking about as far as empowerment. We want, it's not about what insurance is going to pay or cover. They don't care about what's best for you. And oftentimes they're going to specifically not pay for things that are best for you. And so all of our transformations, only one is covered by insurance. And we only accept 2 insurances for that. And so the chiropractic adjustment is the only thing that insurance might potentially pay for. Everything else in our office is non-covered. Mm-hmm. But it works. And we've got a lot of testimonials that show us that. And, it's taken, certainly me, I think both of us, time to get to the point where I'm completely comfortable sitting down with somebody and saying, this is what you need. This is how much it's going to cost. And, we want to help you as much as we can, and we're not here to sell you anything.
No.
So, the people that have come in and they're like, their guard is up, they're expecting, this giant sales process. I mean, we do have to go through the process of figuring out what's wrong and telling you what you need. But the last thing we want to do is feel like, for you to feel like, or for us to feel like we're selling you something. And we're to the point where we're going to tell you what you need, and you can take it or leave it.
That's right.
And not from a place of, I don't know what the word is, like, not superiority, but we ultimately care about you, but we're not responsible for you making your health decisions.
That's hard.
And we're trying,
yes.
The value here is empowerment.
Yes.
We want you to feel empowered
100%.
in making the right decisions for you and your health and where you're at.
That's
and
right.
where your finances are at.
That's
and
right.
where your relationship with your spouse is at. Who, you can't make the decision about whether to start care today or not without talking to them. All of that's okay. But that's what we're trying to say is
ultimately
you are in charge.
That's right.
It's not what insurance will pay. It's not us saying you have to do these packages or plans or programs. We're here to help you, and we're going to be extremely, almost to a fault, honest about what you need and what you don't need, and how we can help you get there. And we're not afraid to be paid for that, because we've seen the transformation on the other side of it, and honestly, it's worth a lot more than what we're charging. And so that's the empowerment part of it. Last one, growth with purpose. We commit to continuous growth, both personally and professionally. We cultivate an environment where innovation meets wisdom, always elevating our standards while staying true to our foundational purpose of helping others rise. I would say this is probably my highest, personally, my highest value is growth. I'm always digging into the next thing, and growth is just a high standard for me. And so, yes, both personally, in my own health, in my own mental and physical and spiritual well-being, I didn't have the tools 15 years ago to really even recognize half of what I know about myself now. And I think that has come through in what we've discussed about our name change and the direction that we're trying to help people in the office. But growth is certainly a high value. And so, yes, for me personally and for our staff, we talk a lot about that. We want them to feel like they're growing with the office and inside the office. And we want that for people. It's not just a matter of, coming in to get this ache and pain fixed. Sometimes we do that, but more than that, we want to be part of your growth and health journey, because ultimately they're one and the same. And how you've talked about transformations and, how one phase of their life, or one one part of their life changes, and transmutes and transforms into something different.
Right.
We want to be a part of that, and we want to help facilitate that. Even if it's only making people aware that it's okay
Yes.
to do that,
Wow. That's huge.
or to recognize that it's possible to do that.
Yeah.
Because I think that sometimes people just need permission to see it.
Yeah.
And that's part of their growth, right?
That's right.
And sometimes we'll be part of that, and sometimes we won't. But that's what we're with the classes and the talks and the retreats, and that community and growth and transformation. We're trying to help people see that, and as much as they're comfortable with us being a part of it, then we want to join them on that journey. So, welcome to Atlas Rising. As I said at the beginning, we're going to have an amazing launch party coming up on September 20th. And so you are cordially invited to that event. It'll be at the office